we're going to do a life update. So we're going to do a life update. My daughter suggested this, and I thought it was a good idea to kind of go over what happened maybe in the last month. I guess I'll try these monthly and see how they go. So if you've looked at previous videos, then you know there's like a 9-year gap in between like the last video and then like the next video. But I left the gap because it kind of made sense. I was gone for a long time. And I decided I was going to come back and revamp and bring new content in what is going on in my world right now. I identify as a Phoenix. So to me, it just made sense to bring in new stuff. You go through a rebirth and you become a different person almost, maybe a better person. Maybe you've taken what you learned and you bring that into who you are now. So it made sense to me. So that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to do this for, I guess this is the end of November, 2023, right? And maybe if I don't come back in 9 years, then there will be another 9-year gap. I don't know. You know, things happen. A lot can happen. So I'm not opposed to it. But you know, it was weird. I spent today with a couple of other families, and there was this vast difference in the two families that I spent today with, today being Thanksgiving. And I got to spend today with two families, both immigrant families, both with great stories as far as families go, both hardworking families. And so it was very interesting to see how the two families are different from each other and how they're the same. I thought that was very interesting for me because I'm not an immigrant family, and it's really I have a very small family. Also, what I found interesting today was the oracle card that I pulled today was about choosing your tribe, and the idea of if you're not, a lot of us are not. So a lot of us are not given these huge, loving, supportive families, and a lot of us have to make our own tribe, and myself included. And so the idea of, you know, getting to see what the other side lives like, right? The other side with their families, their nuclear families, and their husbands and wives, you know, with their kids, and what, you know, having strong male leadership and supportive, you know, parents, and you know, all of these things. My parents are as supportive as they can be with whatever information that they have, right? And so I don't knock their level of, you know, where they are. Like, they are who they are, and because they are who they are, I ended up being who I am, right? So I can't really say negative about that. But the idea of seeing what a close-knit nuclear family and an extended family was like, and getting to feel that energy as an empath, awesome. I do enjoy when I get to feel energy of like love and support and kinship. And so that, coupled with this morning's oracle card being about the tribe and finding your tribe. If you don't get a tribe, like if you weren't given a tribe to start off, a lot of us weren't, so we're tasked or charged with finding that tribe. And I know that I do my best find my tribe. I cherish my tribe when I find them, and they just become like a part of me even. So if you are a part of my tribe, and if I told you that you're a part of my tribe, just know that that is something that I take near and close to my heart, and I don't tell everyone that. So just know that I love having you in my life, and I'm grateful for you. And getting to see what other families look like, and getting to feel that energy from other families, that was great. I'm going to sit with that for a little bit. I probably will end up journaling about it, because I remember the first time I met these people, and I didn't know, I had no idea that this many years later, 5 years later or 6 years later for one family, and 10 years later, let's say, or 8 years later for another family, that these many years later, they were going to be such an important part of my world, and important parts of my tribe. So you just never know, right? When you're picking your tribe, sometimes we pick people and we think that we're being intentional, and it's not like a real formal, hey, you're on my tribe now. But sometimes they just kind of blend in and kind of meld in and mix in, and we don't even realize that we're picking our tribe, So that, I thought that was great. I think that getting to see where I am now, and when I was sitting with each of the families, I was able to remember where I was, who I was when I met them, and that made me it kind of made me smile on the inside, to seeing myself from the outside and the growth that comes. So there was that. I thought that was great. As far as this month has gone, crazy amount of shifting, just like I expected, right? I took a leave of absence from my job. I don't know that I mentioned that before, but I did. I took a leave of absence from my job. It was about 5 weeks of leave, and I am coming to the end of that leave of absence. Did it for several reasons. I needed time away from the office, from that feeling that I was getting. It was a very heavy, burdensome feeling. The feelings and the questioning that was going on, and so I needed time away from that. And I kept getting these symbols and these messages of letting go, and I probably would have just quit my job, truth be told, but for whatever reason I couldn't. Financially, well, not even financially, logically, it didn't make sense for me to leave certain things the way that they were. And the way that a lot of our jobs are set up, if we quit our jobs, then we don't get all of our leave. I don't know why they did that. So here I am, right? So I took the leave instead of, wasting it. So I tasked myself this 5 weeks with figuring out where I wanted to be. Especially starting at the top of the next year. But, my birthday was last week. It just passed. And I like to kind of plan out my year based off of the chapters of my birthday, right? So where did I want to be at the end of the next chapter? Who I wanted to be, and what that future self looked like. And I needed this time. I spent a lot of time kind of here, with me, with my dogs, with my daughter, with those who were closest to me, and just figuring these things out, remembering who I am, and I needed that. I'm not gonna lie. If you can do it, I say do it. I'm a proponent. I personally am always a proponent for taking all of your leave if you have a job that gives you leave, because honestly, I I don't think they care about you. Not in the way that like you should care about yourself. And I will always take my leave to care about myself over some agency. Anyway, so I charged myself with figuring out that back at that essence. I did a lot of journaling, a lot of meditation, a lot of introspection and reflection, and just remembering what makes me at the core of my being me. And so that was great. Also, I charged myself with getting back into the YouTubes, right? Figuring out what I wanted to bring to the world and what my message is supposed to be, and how I'm going to portray that message, and how I can be of service more to the, let's say, my online community, as well as my IRL community. Is that a thing? And my in-person, my real, like you guys are real. I get it. Y'all are real. But my in-person, outside the door community has been, laying big here on my heart. So I needed to really focus and align and figure out how that was all going to play and what the role was I wanted to play in their lives. And I also tasked myself with completing my dissertation. So I'm going to give you guys 2 more times. I'm going to say the word because I did promise a drinking game. And here we are. I completed my dissertation. I submitted my dissertation. So that's it. You guys, I'm kind of done with that. The research was great. Okay, I'm lying. I don't know that the research was great. I feel like I did a great job on my research. I feel like the statements and my thesis stands well. I don't know how much defending I'm going to have to do of it, but I felt like I backed up my thesis and I provided relevance for the subject, and I'm hoping that even I will be able to continue the conversation moving forward about how Black women in the United States are reclaiming our spirituality and creating what we need as a community of women who are reclaiming our spirituality from maybe ancestral roots from all of our ancestors. So that's what I worked on, and that's where I am, and it's done. And honestly, I have been playing on my IG, and I think on the X, whatever, I don't know what we're calling that app anymore, right? With different names, because y'all, I'm gonna be a doctor, right? And I remember specifically, I watch a lot of like Gaia and other like real witchy, metaphysical, spiritual, woo-woo type stuff. I like that stuff. And I remember watching those shows and thinking, you know what? I can talk on that. I can talk on that subject. I would love to be able to give my 2 cents on that subject. And maybe while I'm talking about that subject, it'll say, Dr. Asia, and here I am. So there you go. I'm about to be Dr. Asia. I'm also accepting the Reverend Dr. Asia. I think that works because I am a reverend as well. And I think that I might really sit with the good Reverend Dr. Asia, because if I'm going to be a witch, I'm a good witch, right? Like, the good Reverend Dr. Asia has spoken, guys. That would be hilarious. I'm going to sit on that one a little bit. I'm going to sit with it. We'll see. The good Reverend Dr. Asia has been like in my head. Full title one day, and I'm going to just put it here and see how this works. The good Reverend Dr. Asia priestess of the sacred feminine mysteries. I mean, that's what's next, right? Like, I'm so close. Right, you know? And like I've said before, like, our spirituality is not something that we kind of just like check off, right? I just know that when I'm joking around about, you know, how many different titles one can put out there, a lot of times they don't mean anything. I was asked, do I want to pick Reverend or did I want to be minister over the summer, I guess. And I picked Reverend because why not, right? I don't think that it's the titles. Well, anymore, I don't think that it's the titles that do it. I think that it's the intention that comes with what you're putting out there. And so if I do end up being, you know, the Reverend Dr. Asia with, you know, a priestess of the sacred feminine mysteries or something to that effect, I don't know that any of that really matters. I know we've spoken about, you know, that guru syndrome and how we end up deifying, you know, people who are just giving us the information as they're learning it themselves. Even, you know, I learned something new and I take it and I ingest it and then I say, how can I incorporate this into my world, right? Like even as a shaman, you know, life coach or a reverend or, you know, we take the information, we learn it. And once we've learned it and we know better, right, we do better. That's the goal. And so that's where I am with it. But this he's done. And so you guys, the idea of like now I can focus on so many more things because there are like so many tabs that I just got to close in my metaphorical laptop and in my actual laptop. Also, I have a lot of tabs open. On my phone, I have like 500 tabs open. It's crazy. It's crazy balls. It's insane. But I get to close out some tabs. And so that's what I'm excited about. So the goal was get enough subscribers on the YT so that I can eventually get to go live with more content that can be more helpful. I don't really do well in this. Let me record something. Now I got to go back and make sure that it makes sense and edit it. I'm more of a conversationalist, you know. I like to talk amongst the crowd, you know. So that's my dog. So I'm waiting. Hopefully I get more subscribers. I get it. I got to give you something so that you'll give me something back. So there we are. This is what I've got for the end of November. And we'll see what changes at the end of next month. But your tribe is important. And you have to feel that you deserve a great tribe. And you have to put out what you want that feeling from your great tribe to be. And I do plan to get something out about not only the law of attraction, but the other universal laws as well. But the law of correspondence says that what you have thrown out there, to the degree that you have thrown it out there, is what you return back with. So if you're searching for your tribe and you're hoping, you know, maybe you're feeling like there's nobody out there for you, you're not alone, first of all. You're not alone, first of all, but your tribe is there and they're out there waiting for you just like you are for them. And eventually one day you'll be looking back and thinking of the day that you met these people and how you thought they were not going to be much more than they really were. And then they end up just being something great in your lives. And so I wish that for you. In the meantime, you know, love yourself and remember yourself and continue answering the question of who are you when you are not connected to anyone else. You're not the object of anyone else. And when you get to that essence of not your name, not what you do, not who you are in terms of other people, but just you, then your tribe will start to kind of come forward and present themselves to you. And it's a great feeling. I'm enjoying it so far. And it changes all the time. So just know everything changes all the time. Nothing is ever going to stay exactly how it was at this point. And I think that's what's important. I think I'm going to stop there with that. Remember to send out love. I'm sending you love and peace and many continued blessings, especially on this meritorious of Thanksgiving days. And I hope that you got to spend time with your tribe either today or tomorrow. If you do have one, you send them out a text message, a quick, hey, I'm glad you're in my life. Send out those ripples, guys. I am Asia, the Soulful Creatrix, and this has been great. I will see you on the next time.